The Giants are back and they're better than ever. Hey now. Hey now. The Giants are back. All right, what's going on, everybody? It's the New York Giants, New York Football Giants training camp recap, practice number 3. Come one, come all. Watch your ads. Get in here. If you're watching on Twitter, click that link because it's better viewed on YouTube and like the damn stream. How about that? How about that? Like it, love it, gotta have it. That's my Cold Stone Creamery draft scale. It is July 25th, 2025. It's Talking Giants brought to you by SeatGeek, and we are recapping the New York Giants training camp practice number 3. Some say trace. Here is what happened. I'm giving you all of the storylines, all of the headlines, all in one, and then we're going to go through them each individually. Are you ready? Here we go. Today's practice, Brian Daboll opened up and expanded the field. Practice was around an hour and 40-ish. I would honestly say closer to an hour 50. This was the longest practice that the Giants had so far. They have an off day tomorrow, and padded practice was moved to Monday. I think I came on here yesterday and said that padded practice would be on Sunday. It was moved to Monday. So if it rains on Sunday, which there's rain in the forecast, I don't mind it as much because they moved the fully padded practice to Monday. Oh, no. Yeah, but today's practice, Daboll opened up and expanded the field. This was the first time that they weren't operating solely inside the red zone. Here are the 2 biggest plays of the day. Russell Wilson to Malik Nabers, 50 to 60 yards. I've seen a couple people say 40. I've seen more people say 50 to 60. It was around there. The first true moon ball of the summer, Russell Wilson delivered to Malik Nabers today. It was on the right sideline. It was basically a go route. We know that Russell Wilson throws that deep ball, the moon ball, towards the sideline almost better than most QBs in the NFL. And that's not just Giants fans talking. There's data and there's numbers and eyes to really back that up. Beautiful throw, just hits Malik Nabers in stride. He never has to break stride. It looks like that ball just kind of perfectly falls right in his chest, right in the breadbasket. Paulson Adebo wound up falling down, so it would have been a fun opportunity to see if he could have made a play on the football or if Russ was just going to deliver that ball that good. We didn't get a chance to see what would have happened, Nabers versus Adebo, because Adebo kind of falls down, but still Nabers is totally in stride. It's a 50 to 60-yard touchdown for the Giants. That was during 11-on-11 towards the middle/end part of practice. The second biggest play, nice play, best play of the practice was Jackson Dart going to Cam Skattebo to end practice. Not a screen, not a little check down. Cam Skattebo ran like a legit route towards the corner in the back corner in the end zone, and Jackson Dart, believe he completed his last 3 passes of practice. We'll talk about Jackson Dart. Still shaky, but I'm not going to get concerned by anything I fully see out of Jackson Dart this camp. I've gone on this show and I've said I expect Jackson Dart to struggle during training camp, and I'm not panicking by that because the expectation is you don't want to see him for quite some time. That's the expectation, and Russell Wilson really has taken QB1 and run with it. Not that I think there ever was any kind of questions about that. But the last play of practice was Jackson Dart to Cam Skattebo inside the red zone. They did a 2-minute situation to end practice, kind of a drive that starts at around midfield. Jackson Dart 3 for 3 to end practice. Last play, throws the ball to Cam Skattebo. We're going to talk about Cam Skattebo's receiving prowess throughout these first 3 days too. John Michael Schmitz, on the other side of things, is not looking too good. 4 bad snaps today. 3 of them were high. Now, I will give JMS a little bit of slack because he's been snapping the ball to quarterbacks that are really tall over his career. Between Daniel Jones is a bigger guy and Russell Wilson is notably short and noticeably short. But the 3 high snaps did disrupt 3 plays today. And one of the last snap that was bad, because he had a total of 4. 3 of them were high, like I said. It looked like Russell Wilson wasn't fully expecting it. So this is also coming off of I feel kind of bad for this because, kind of exposed JMS yesterday. Abdul Carter did, and then, people clip it up, and then, JMS kind of gets exposed and he kind of gets dragged through the mud. But JMS has not been very good, especially as a pass blocker through his Giants career so far. And with the bad snaps today and kind of, hey, Abdul Carter's beating you. I don't know if I'm going to hold JMS a little, too accountable for getting his ass kicked by Abdul Carter, who we have the world of expectations for. But JMS has got to figure it out. I mean, this is kind of just like a career thing for him in general, not really just a practice thing, but if you're adding bad snaps and you're disrupting the overall flow of plays, that's not very good. I don't know how close they are to maybe even making a Greg Van Roten move to center. I don't know if that is even a possibility. I don't even know if that is something that they're thinking about. But that's, I think, what they would do, because Austin Schlottman is the second team center. He's the center number 2 on the team. And they haven't carried a true traditional center over the last couple of years. I still think that they would be more willing to slide either John Runyon or Greg Van Roten over to center for this year. If John Runyon is healthy, it would be sliding Greg Van Roten over if they wanted to make a move off of JMS, but I don't think they're close to that. But certainly, not a good day for JMS. It was all bad snap related. Let's see when the pads come on if he's able to actually perform better, get the ball down, and even block better. Tyler Nubin had 2 passes defense today, 2 pass breakups today. He looks really nice, really instinctual, coming off of a year where Tyler Nubin had touched the football once last year, and that was against the Tampa Bay Bucks later in the year. Tyler Nubin needs to be more active and around the football this year. You can't just be a good run defender in year 2 and be really worth it as a safety that you take in the second round. You got to be around the football when the ball is in the air, not just when it's on the ground. So it's not to take away from anything what Tyler Nubin did his rookie year, but he has that resume from Minnesota to be a ball hawk, to be a playmaker in pass coverage. He certainly did that today. There was one play where one of the plays where it was a high snap from John Michael Schmitz. There was a Russell Wilson kind of breaks containment. It's a broken play, but Russ is trying to fit it in there to a receiver, and Tyler Nubin kind of goes up with the receiver towards middle-ish of the field, probably by the numbers, and almost has a pick 6. The receiver's kind of going for the ball at the same time that he is, and if you're on YouTube, you're seeing the motion that I'm making. It's kind of what it looked like. So Nubin winds up dropping the ball. Ball falls incomplete. If Nubin would have had it, it's a pick 6. And then the other play that happened this practice, which was really nice, Malik Neighbors is running over the middle of the field, and Russ kind of fires in that ball to Malik Neighbors, which Malik Neighbors, again, another day, another practice, another day where Malik Neighbors is getting targeted a shit ton, which is awesome, which you love. But Tyler Nubin comes over the middle of the field, and as that ball is being delivered, makes a play on the football and times it up perfectly to hit Malik Neighbors, where I don't think it's a flag. I don't think it's a pass interference, and he breaks up that pass, forces that incompletion. Nice job by Tyler Nubin, being more instinctual. And I'm really excited for Tyler Nubin year 2, because he showed what he can do in college. He even showed what he could do as a run defender last year. Now we got to put everything together, get back to what we were doing in college, making plays on the football. Did it today. Really excited about Tyler Nubin. He had a really good practice. Now, Deonte Banks is a different story. He still is alternating with Cordell Flott basically every other series. And man, I feel like it's Groundhog Day. Like, put on Bill Murray and show that gif of it's Groundhog Day again, because it's the same damn thing, and I'm getting tired of talking about it, where this guy is in good position. He is in good coverage. You rarely see Deonte Banks slacking or losing a play. It's just I'm not even saying the Giants quarterbacks are so good, but quarterbacks in the NFL are just so damn good that it doesn't matter if you perfectly cover a receiver. Odds are, if your head isn't turned, if you're not playing the football, you're going to allow catches. The receivers are too good. The quarterbacks are too good. Jordan Bly today, and my guy Jeff, my producer Jeff, just dropped this to me because we were trying to find this one play, and I think we found it. It was in 7-on-7 early in practice, and it was a ball near the sideline, and it's tough to see from our angle. But Jordan Bly comes down with this ball, falls down. Deonte Banks is falling down with them. Deonte Banks is kind of in phase again, and there's just no play made on the ball. No play made. And even he had a pass breakup today when the ball was thrown on a goal ball to Darius Slayton when he was with the first team. Russell Wilson was throwing the ball. Russell Wilson takes a chance, throws it deep to Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton, I don't think has been targeted a whole lot so far this camp, too. Just a little nugget and a note. But like even there, he does a nice job of playing the ball when it arrives and kind of watching Darius Slayton's hands and how he can break up the pass there, which if you aren't going to turn your head, that's where you got to live. And there are plenty of corners in the NFL that do exactly that. This is why as a receiver, you want to flash late hands because you want to limit the corner's ability to read and react of when the ball is coming if their head isn't turned. So if Deonte Banks is not going to be a corner that turns his head and plays the football, which clearly it's been now 2 years of him not doing that, and now we're going into year 3 and we're going through a training camp where, again, we're not doing that, you got to be able to break up the pass as the ball's coming in when the receiver shows his hands. That's where you got to win. And he did it for one play, but still, man, it's like I want to rip my hair out. I want to rip my hair out because I know this guy is better than Cordell Flott. I know he is. And they're still, like I said, every other series, they're alternating. Flott's in with the starters, and then Banks is with the second team, and then vice versa, the next team, period. But Flott's going to start. And I don't even think Flott's that great at making plays on the football either. Like, both of them didn't really have a lot of experience doing it in college, and neither of them have fully done it in the NFL. I think Flott, I remember Flott, the crossing pattern against the Miami Dolphins where Tyreek Hill's running that. He makes play on the football there. Flott's going to start if Banks can't get this shit right. If Banks is going to just continue to allow catches, Flott's going to start. So, I don't know. Like, I really thought that it wasn't a positional battle because I kind of thought in my head, like, I think Banks can get a little bit better by just doing this one damn thing, but he's not doing it. So it's really frustrating. It's just really, really frustrating. Injury-wise, Wan'Dale Robinson and Brian Burns ran into each other. Full speed collision. Now they seem okay. Like, it was Greg Dulcich, who somehow there was like a Greg Dulcich crowd with maybe like a little Jordan Humphrey. Like, they were running with the first team for like one play. So they're running. Greg Dulcich is running down the field, and Brian Burns is chasing him, and Wan'Dale is maybe down the field blocking or whatever. And then, boom, Burns face first, and Wan'Dale just collide. And Wan'Dale Robinson probably takes the bigger beating out of that compared to Brian Burns. But they both they walk off the field on their own power, which was good. You got a little worried because 2 guys were down, and Giants players started to take a knee. So I'm thinking, shit, did somebody tear up their knee? I don't think anybody did. So hopefully they're going to be all right. The summer of Nic Jones continues. He had another sack today, I believe. He is the second team slot corner. And the second team slot corner in that spot was an interesting spot because it's not one that was like clearly defined. Like, I think Cordell Flott and Trey Hawkins as your outside backup corners, or even, add Corey Black to the mix as well. Corey Black had a pass deflection and a pass breakup today. Boom. That's a note that I wanted to say. We touched on it and we talked about it, but they're kind of defined. Those 3 guys, Hawkins, Black, and Cordell Flott, or Deonte Banks, they're kind of defined as the backup outside corners, right? But besides Drew Phillips, who's the slot guy? You could say that maybe Cordell Flott can slide to the slot if Drew Phillips goes down, but Nic Jones is forging a path for himself. And again, if you don't know who Nic Jones is, the first day of practice, he's the one that got the pick 6 over Jackson Dart, really jumped that route well. The next 2 days, he's had 2 sacks, 2 days on 2 slot on nickel corner blitzes. And today, like yesterday's sack that he had, it was kind of just like a freebie, just came in as free rusher. Today, he kind of had to work around some people and get there. And so it's like, all right, so 2 sacks in 2 days as a nickel corner where you can't hit the quarterback. That doesn't overly impress you. But I tried watching him too on certain plays where the Giants are trying to create space and they're trying to run picks, and the slot receivers trying to cross the outside receiver to create some space and create some room and create some traffic in the secondary. Nic Jones is operating that well, and he's getting to the slot corner quickly. Amir Smith-Marset, I think, has primarily been the backup slot receiver to Wan'Dale Robinson. So it's been Nic Jones versus Amir Smith-Marset. So Nic Jones is even looking good and comfortable during coverage as well. And he hasn't really been targeted, I don't think, all that much during team drills, which, hey, that's pretty damn good. If you're not being targeted that much, then you're doing your job as a corner too. So the summer of Nic Jones really does continue. And I want to add one more guy to that mix in terms of the summer of underrated players. That's typically what, at least I kind of like to say that. The summer of Richie James a couple years ago, that's where it kind of started. The summer of Richie James, like this guy that nobody really knows is on the come up. And then lo and behold, Richie James had a good 2022. But I want to add Cory Durden to the mix. Who the hell's Cory Durden, you ask? Yeah, I'm saying that with you. But number 69, nice interior defensive lineman. He's kind of wrecking a little havoc from the interior. And there is I think on the same play where Nic Jones got the sack, maybe counted as a sack for Nic Jones, but maybe it would have been split in a real game with Cory Durden because he was pushing the pocket back. He's getting like second team reps. This number 69, interior defensive lineman, defensive tackle, guy that kind of came out of nowhere. He's getting second team reps here and there. There's so much fluctuation when it comes to this guy's getting reps, this guy's getting reps. I just thought it was significant because for the amount of names that are in the interior defensive lineman room, like Jeremiah Ledbetter would be a backup. DJ Davidson, obviously a backup. Nacho could be a backup at certain times because Roy Robertson Harris has been getting the majority of the starting nod next to Dexter Lawrence. But Cory Durden had like a pretty decent practice. And again, when the pads come on, they start doing some 1v1s. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for him. Elijah Garcia is also another guy that the beat reporters have kind of talked about as the organization may like him more than, and may know him a little bit more than like a lot of fans recognize him. But Elijah Garcia, towards the end of practice, middle part of practice, he gets a first team rep, and that kind of popped out of nowhere too. So the summer of Nic Jones and maybe the summer of Cory Durden, we'll see when pads go on. They ran the ball pretty well today with all backs. Cam Skattebo had a nice run of 10 plus yards today. He kind of was stayed patient. And by the way, I think we may try and show clips on another stream for the YouTube crowd, but yesterday was a little clunky and a little funky. I'm going to try and get that situated where it's not as clunky and funky on the YouTube end. I just don't think it was that great radio yesterday. But a lot of our stuff that we're talking about, a lot of these plays are posted on our social media or they're posted on other people's social medias. So be sure to take a look at that, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. But they ran the ball well. Cam Skattebo had a nice run. It would have been at least 10 plus yards. Kind of remained patient behind the line, then stuck his foot on the ground, went outside to the left, and it would have been a really nice run to the left. Running out of the shotgun, by the way, which the Giants historically, I think under Brian Daboll, are better running out of the shotgun. They're kind of better at doing everything out of the shotgun than they are under center. This is where I want to talk about Cam Skattebo's hands. He has really flashed good receiving ability his first 3 days. And it's not just, all right, well, he has smooth hands catching a screen or a swing pass or something that's short. He's catching balls past the line of scrimmage, whether it be yesterday, it was 1v1, where he had that nice touchdown grab over, I think it was Deontay Johnson or Chris Board. A linebacker was covering him. And he catches a ball in the corner of the end zone, flashes late hands, and gets his feet down in a 1v1 drill. First day, he was very smooth as a receiver. And then today, in team drills, catching a ball past the line of scrimmage and towards the corner of the end zone, he's just really reliable as a receiver. And that's what you saw at Arizona State, where even though I don't, obviously Cam Skattebo is not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest guy, right? If he can be that much of an advantage as a receiver, where even if he's like a subtly good route runner or knows how to create space, if he's not the biggest and fastest, he will beat linebackers. If linebackers are tasked with covering him, he will beat linebackers. He will get open against them. And I don't know how often you're going to be throwing up running backs past the line of scrimmage, but they've been kind of doing it a little bit. Cam Skattebo could really be an advantage as a receiver because he's smooth and the hands are that good. The feet are that good when he's near the sideline. So why not? Like I said, I don't know how much of that's actually going to be a part of an offense. Just watching football as the years have gone on, we've always said, remember with Barkley, oh, this guy's a dynamic receiver. We're really going to get him the ball this year. And it's like, no, man, it doesn't always happen like that. The running backs mostly are catching stuff near or at the line of scrimmage, and it's mostly just check down stuff. But you never know with Skattebo. If they have something in mind, Even if they pull it out late in a game in the fourth quarter where you're least expecting it, boom, that could be the difference between winning and losing. Cam Skattebo has been flashing some really good receiving ability through the first 2 days. I'm getting towards the bottom of my notes, and it's been 20 minutes. Tommy DeVito connected with Bo Collins and Juice Wells on crossers. I thought Tommy DeVito was pretty confident throwing the ball today. I didn't record stats or anything. I'm sure Tommy DeVito had some bad plays, but there were two of the nicest throws of the day were from Tom DeVito, where crossers over the middle of the field. They would have been 15, 20-yard plays. Bo Collins, Juice Wells on the receiving end of it, 2 UDFAs. Juice Wells out of Ole Miss, Bo Collins out of Notre Dame. Tommy DeVito, even after one of those throws, one of the coaches comes running up and slaps him on the ass, and it's like that's how you know that's a good throw when you really put some juice on that ball over the middle of the field and results in a big play. Some injury stuff. Andrew Thomas was stretching, which is great at the start of practice. He was outside. Andrew Thomas is still on the PUP list. Hopefully he is finding his way back soon. So we'll see when that is. But he was outside stretching, which is progress, and he hasn't done so far. Jalen Hyatt's going to take advantage of the double off day. He was cramping yesterday, whether it was his hamstring or his calf. There was pictures that I saw from AP that he was holding his calf. I know people reported hamstring initially, but some sort of lower cramping yesterday for Jalen Hyatt. He had the off day today. I think he's going to be fine. At the end of practice, the Giants had an Italian ice truck right outside practice, which I thought was funny. And then afterwards, there was some coach. I don't know if it might have even not been a coach, but they were standing in a huddle at least for 10 minutes. And either somebody was really motivating them or somebody was lighting, what's the phrase that I used? Lighting them up. That's not the phrase. That's not the phrase. I said it right when I first said it.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't the phrase you used.
Say hi to producer Jeff, everyone.
Hi.
What's the phrase when a coach is like,
lay into them?
Laying into them. Just absolutely laying into them. And it was going on for almost 10 minutes. And it reminded me of the Pop Warner coach being like, we got to clean this shit up. And he just goes on for 10 minutes saying the same old thing. And of course, it was 95-degree heat. There eventually got to a point where Jordan Riley was like, I'm done with this. I'm walking away from whatever this man is saying. I have no idea who it was. No idea. But based on how they broke the huddle, because they went up and, Giants on 3, 1, 2, 3, whatever. Based on how they broke that, it wasn't motivating. It was like, So I don't know if coaches feel like the team had a bad practice or what, but it's certainly I wouldn't say that there were some players that had good practices. I don't know if it was a bad practice or a good practice. It's so tough because you're so far and you're trying to watch so much. But that one coach certainly had a lot to fucking say. So that's that. What else? Is there anything else? Here's some. So I'm going from the big picture notes, and now I'm going to go to the small picture notes and the stuff that I just have circled in my notes. See tweet about who was returning punts. Oh, that's a great idea, Justin. Let's look at the Talking Giants tweet and see who was returning punts, because I made a tweet about that. There is a collection of quite a few people, and I have to scroll. So forgive me for scrolling. The following players were returning punts during special teams today. If you want an update about punt returner, I did not see kick returner. They did not do kick return stuff today. At least they didn't do kick return stuff at all. I don't even know if they've done kickoff stuff at all yet. But D. Williams, number 33. Montreal Washington, number 80. Jordan Bly, number 12. Dalen Cambry, number 5. What they did with Dalen Cambry, since he's like the special teams ace out of Louisiana, UDFA. What they did with Cambry is for part of the special teams period where they had guys returning kicks, he was returning them. And then like halfway through the period, they took him out of returning. And then he was on like defense, I guess, for special teams, kind of going and trying to get the returner and stuff like that. So Amir Smith-Marset, of course. They also had Javon Holland back there. So I don't know if anybody's really going to challenge Amir Smith-Marset out of that group. I was hoping to maybe see like, all right, Turbo Miller can maybe have a pathway to a roster spot if he can be a dynamic returner of some sort. But Amir Smith-Marset is pretty reliable as both a kick and punt returner. So I don't know if you really want to go away from him for no reason. Somebody really has to stand out, and it's kind of tough to tell in practice if that's going to happen. If somebody breaks one in a preseason game, boom, different story. But Amir Smith-Marset, Javon Holland, somebody left a reply on a tweet and was like, Javon Holland is giving shades of Adoree Jackson being out there. It's like, let's not do that. I may have missed a guy or two, but that was the majority of the guys doing punt returns. Lil Jordan Humphrey, I know is a somewhat popular name. He's had NFL production before. He was with the ones for one play today, but it was a swing pass to Tyron Tracy. And that's what I've seen a lot. Whenever there's a receiver that's like noteworthy, like, oh, wow, look, there's Jalen Hyatt. Oh, look, there's Bo Collins has even gotten like one or like a couple first team receiver plays. Lil Jordan Humphrey. Typically, it's either a screenplay or a run play where they put those receivers in. That is just a note. I don't know if that's significant, but I've just noticed that whenever there's been different receivers in there, it's been plays where the ball primarily doesn't really go to them or it's not supposed to go to them. So there's that. I have this note too, as like there was only 2 like big touchdowns today. Today was a lot of like create space plays. And that makes sense in my head, but I'm going to walk you through my thought process, right? The Yankees just made a trade. What the trade? I don't care. Rocky's third baseman? McMahon.
Let me look up his name. You keep talking, I'll find it for you.
Keep finding him. I really don't care. I don't even know why I'm asking. There's a lot of create space plays today. And here's what I mean by that. And this has been somewhat of a common trend this week that I've noticed in the back of my brain, but today I now feel like I can properly explain it. There have been so many plays where a lot of play action through the first 3 days, a lot of plays where Russ is rolling one way and then throwing the ball back the other way, whether that's to like Wandale in the slot, Malik Neighbors that's just hanging out on the opposite side of the field where Russell Wilson rolls out. There was even, I talked about a play day one where Russell Wilson started taking a couple steps left and then underhand tossing it to Theo Johnson. I think there was a play today that I actually liked. There was a screen today that I liked where Theo Johnson, some sort of play fake, some sort of like eye candy in the backfield, look at this, and then Theo Johnson is getting a screen towards the line of scrimmage, and it actually would have been like a 5-yard gain, like of some sort of successful play. So the Giants have been trying. I feel like a lot with Russ, they really didn't, and I can say this definitively, they really didn't let Daniel Jones like ever do that because Daniel Jones just wasn't good throwing on the run. Whereas Russell Wilson, I think, has made a career of like throwing off the run and improvising and things like that. So you may see more of that this year, which that would be cool. If offense can just become easier for the Giants, and they have guys on this team that can get yak. I think Theo can get yak. He's an athlete. I think Slate. I think all 3 of their front receivers can do a decent job of getting yak, especially Malik Neighbors leading that charge. So they were running a lot of create space plays of some sort of eye candy happening in the backfield, and then boom, going one way, moving the quarterback one way, tossing it back to somebody else on the other side of the field, whether that be a running back on like a long swing pass. It's been different stuff. Are they going to actually stick with it in the regular season? We shall see. But that's what they've been doing the first 2 days, the first 3 days, and they've been doing a lot of create space plays, as I've called it. Kayvon Thibodeau had a sack today. Didn't really like headline practice like at all in any kind of way, but he did have a sack today. I did want to note that was with the first team. Dexter Lawrence at one point did check off the field, not because of injury or anything, just because they rotate him in and out. And the first defensive lineman to come in when Dexter Lawrence went out was Elijah Chapman. So today's base defense without Dexter Lawrence was Elijah Chapman, Nacho, and Roy Robertson-Harris. And as we heard, and as maybe some of you heard during the Giants huddle interview, Nacho is kind of getting ready to play the nose tackle. So when Dex isn't in, I kind of now expect maybe Nacho is going to get the nod at nose tackle, which maybe means that DJ Davidson and Jordan Riley, maybe there's not a spot for them on this team, which there's part of me that doesn't mind because I think Jeremiah Ledbetter should make the team. Roy Robertson-Harris is going to make the team. He's probably going to be a starter, even though I like Ledbetter better as a football player. Roy Robertson-Harris has been the interior defensive lineman number 2. He's being paid like it right now. And then obviously you also have Darius Alexander, who I'm really fascinated to see how he performs when the pads come on. He's alternated between second team, third team. There are times where he looks a little slow, and there are times where he was kind of pushing the pocket today. But again, it's just so tough to judge these guys before the pads come on. And it's like I remember when I played, I didn't even like playing without pads. It's like, what am I doing? Like, what am I accomplishing? I want to put pads on if I'm gonna go up live against somebody. So I may even take Sunday's practice. I was thinking about this because Sunday the stream isn't going to be as watched, and I think everybody's going to be doing what they want to do on Sunday. Let me know as I open it up to the chat after this. Let me know if I want to take one practice and only watch the rookies. Only watch the rookie class. That's it. And maybe the UDFAs, like I'll fit them in too. That's what I kind of want to do on Sunday because I know there may not be a lot of people that are active for the stream and shit like that. So that's what I want to do. Elijah Garcia, I already talked about him with one. Corey Black on a pass deflection. Evan Neal has been rotating in and out first team guard reps at certain times. At certain points, he's rotating in for Greg Van Roten, and sometimes he's rotating in for John Runyon. Darius Moasu also had a forced fumble today against Thomas Fidone. It was a really nice punch towards the latter end of practice. I think Fidone recovered it, but Darius Moasu liked the instincts of going in and punching the football out. Boom. There you go. 30 minutes, nice and tight. Open up to the chat. Want to hear my most underrated Giant on the roster this year, Justin Wildchild? Yes, I do want to hear your most underrated Giant on the roster this year. They
answered. They did say it.
Oh, they did? Oh, Greg Dulcich. Oh, nice. Yeah, Greg Dulcich, he dropped a pass today. You want to know why he dropped it? It's because Jackson Dart was throwing the ball. It wasn't Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston and Greg Dulcich have the connection that you dream for. So, I'm opening up to some questions. Appreciate everybody hanging out. I think Holland will be a good pair with Nubin. I also think Holland will be a good pair with Nubin. I'm just hoping that Javon Holland, there's no holdover from Miami where last year was not the best year for him. You're in a good situation. You got paid. You got your money. This is a situation that you're choosing to get into. Good football players around you. Like, let's roll. Let's make some plays this year. So if anybody's got anything in the chat, we'll do that. Do you have the Yankees trade, by the way, Jeff?
Yeah, you mentioned McMahon?
Yeah.
It was McMahon.
Yeah. How do you like that? It's going to fix everything.
Yeah.
How bad would the defense have to perform for the Giants to consider an in-season defensive coordinator change? Oh, man. I don't know have they ever done that? An in-season defensive coordinator change. I don't know if they've ever done that since I've been a fan. Let me know. That's actually a good trivia question. So let me know if I'm forgetting anything. Perry Fuel at times had bad defenses, but they never fired him. He's a Super Bowl champion defense coordinator. Obviously, Steve Spags eventually kind of came back. They didn't fire James Betcher in the middle of the season, even though they probably should have. So I don't know. I don't know how bad it would have to be. I mean, they would have to be bottom 5, like, again, in a lot of stuff like EPA per play, if they're allowing big plays. But then who would be the next defense coordinator? Dre Patterson? Would it be this? It would probably be the pass game coordinator, whoever's the secondary coach right now. It would probably be him since he's the pass game coordinator. So then he would probably just slide as the DC. But I don't want to explore that bad question in that bad scenario. Concern with JMS snaps and getting worked. It's not necessarily because of training camp that I'm concerned with JMS, but it's just JMS hasn't been a good pass blocker. And that is the worry with drafting older prospects. It's a double-edged sword because you draft older prospects and then you have to wonder, well, how much are they actually going to get better, right? Because you draft JMS when he's around 24. Darius Alexander's already 25 years old. So you draft these older prospects and you can be like, oh, well, they're experienced and they have a lot of, miles under their legs and shit like that. So that's a good thing. But then you look at the 2022 draft class where they draft everybody young. And it's crazy that you look at Cordell Flott's age and he's the same age as JMS. And he's been in the league for 3 years. All these guys that they drafted so young in 2022. But then they're like, oh, but those guys are too inexperienced. They're too green. They have too much to learn. So it's just a double-edged fucking sword. Like, I'm concerned about JMS because he's been in the league now for 3 years and he's old. And how much are you actually going to get better? How much are you going to get better? I really don't know with that. Well, this is a good question. What role do you see Singletary having now with Cam there? I think at the start of the season, Cam Skattebo really hasn't gotten significant first-team reps yet. I don't want to sit here and say he hasn't gotten one, but on the top of my head, I don't think Cam Skattebo has gotten a single first-team rep. I don't think. It has been Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary splitting with the ones. And Cam has kind of been the main guy getting second and third team reps. I've even seen that from Marcus Bowe. Marcus Bowe at right tackle. There are times where I see him with the second team, and then he's even out there with the third team. It's also still so tough to know what the second and third team is, since they switch Dart and Jameis so much with second and third. You just have to count. Russ is in. The next team that comes in is the second team. Count 1 to 3, Justin. But Marcus Bowe has gotten a lot of plays and a lot of reps. And same thing with Cam Skattebo. He's gotten a lot of plays, a lot of mileage so far this training camp. And I think at the start of the season, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be Devin Singletary and Tyrone Tracy kind of splitting the backfield. The biggest test for Cam Skattebo, I've said this and I'll say it again. The biggest test for Cam Skattebo is going to be, can he pass block? If he can pass block, it will move him up and get him closer to playing significant time. If he cannot pass block, then you'll see more Devin Singletary, more Tyrone Tracy. I'm picking off Dart if he starts week 1. That's tough. Scat has been pretty good with catching out of the backfield. Yeah, I talked about that earlier. Do you think we'll actually utilize his pass catching ability and not just use him as a short yardage back? That's Basher. I like that word, by the way, Basher. It's not even about not utilizing Cam Skattebo's strengths, but I've been in this game long enough, doing this since 2018, and here in doing the same talking points over and over again about utilizing a running back's receiving ability, and then it comes down to it, and it just doesn't happen. I feel like there's unicorns in the NFL like Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, that get that treatment of like maybe being thrown the ball. I mean, even then, like they're throwing the ball so close to the line of scrimmage. So I think it'll surprise you when it happens. And I think that's the nice thing to kind of keep in your back pocket is in the fourth quarter, 2 minutes left in the game, and you're inside the red zone. You need a touchdown. You can put Cam Skattebo out there, and if they're in man coverage against a linebacker, even if Skattebo isn't necessarily the most athletic guy, the fact that he has that receiving ability, you can keep it in your back pocket, pull it out, boom, you can win a football game right there. So that's something that I really like. I really think Russ is going to cook. Watch and see. Yeah, he's been pretty fun the first 3 days in this first week. There's an off day tomorrow. I think I'm going to wrap it up. We're longest stream so far. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Like the stream. Like and subscribe. Really appreciate everybody. I've kind of felt a lot more comfortable this week because I'm watching ball, and that's what I feel like I'm best at doing is when I watch football, I can react to it. I can tell a story, and I thought today's story was pretty damn good. So like and subscribe. I will see you on Sunday. Enjoy the off day tomorrow. I'll see you then. Let's go Giants.